Hey guys, Disco here, VMA 131. Been doing some beta testing with the dev team for some new features here on the scooter, and thought I'd show a couple of them off. They're obviously still work in process, or progress rather, but really things are coming along quite nicely. One thing you'll notice is that the engine's off and I'm not sliding around on the deck. Now I previously had a voice attack command that would lock the brakes for me just by saying tie down real quick, and that was working for me. However, there was a desire to move to a better setup, and so we now have chocks, which you can see there. We do still get a little bit of static movement on the deck like the other aircraft do, but it's really quite a bit better. Alright, so the next thing, one of the guys in VMA 131 initially solved, and then the dev team took another stab at it, and that was getting the huffer to where we could,
turn on the ground power.
By not rolling around on the deck, we could
Copy.
actually have the huffer show up to help us out.
Ground power is now on.
As you can see, we can now get the huffer on deck, so we have the huffer cart and wheel chocks. So it's a pretty nice spot to be in, much better than we were a couple of months ago when the airplane first came out. Alright, so another thing that's come up is lighting has been radically improved. The team did some research and found that lighting was supposed to be red for the period, and so they've made substantial improvement to the lighting. You can see it looks marvelous, works really well, and just adds quite a lot of ambiance to the cockpit. So we have a medium flood setting, we have a high bright flood setting, and then we have a dim that I've modified to be NVG compliant, and really works out nicely all together. So we'll show you a couple other things after we get fired up here. So I'm going to go ahead and start the engine. Starting her up. Alright, looking for 5% and up to ignition. Looking for 15 to 17%. Up to idle.
Chief, turn off the ground power. Copy.
Alright, so now we're on ship's power.
Ground power is now off.
Huffer's off. Alright, let's go ahead and close the canopy here. Alright, so quickly walking around for some more recent improvements here. We'll go ahead and get things warming up while we're getting ready to go. So we'll pull the flaps down to half. Set the altimeter 70 feet. We'll set the indicated airspeed bug, although we're not rotating in a conventional sense today, like we do on an airport, an airbase. Kind of light, so we'll set about 125. You can also actually push and hold, and you have an indicated Mach bug as well. I usually set it to 0.72 to 0.75, depending on what I intend to do any particular day. So we'll get the radar altimeter on. Alright. So while the nav radar is warming up, I'm going to move the stick out of the way and test. You'll see a new light here, Threat. We replaced the IFF light that the dev team did with Threat, which actually works with the SAM warning system now. Alright, that all looks good. So you'll see also that the ECM monitor panel has made its way back into the cockpit. This is pretty exciting. This is the beginning of being able to do more advanced radar warning work. So this works in conjunction with a simple APR-25 radar warning receiver, which has a series of antennas around the airplane. So when we turn it on, you hear kind of a muffled hum, indicates it's listening. Then we have an APR-27, which is part of the threat detection system as well. So we have a press to test there. We'll zoom in. You can see it says test, go, and no go. So that actually will test the system and provide an indication to you whether or not it can auto jam for you, actually auto countermeasure for you. So we also have the function on the switch here now, which is for the ALQ100, which is our airborne self-protection jammer. You set the switch to standby. The standby light in this 4-segment light, this should be on for about 2 minutes. This logic and function is still in work. Once airborne and in a threat area, you set it to receive, and the red receive light will come on anytime there's a threat signal being received. So it's another indication, along with the tone, that you're being pinged by either a search, a track and lock, or launch guidance radar. Then, if you have the ECM system on and you put it up to repeat RPT, it'll actually start jamming, and that's what the green RPT light means. So we'll set that back to standby for now. You also have 2 sources of audio, so the APR-25 and then the ALQ. So the ALQ doesn't hear anything right now, so there's no tones. So anyway, it's really cool to see all this stuff coming together now. All right. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're going to taxi over to the to Cat 4 and depart. So always very careful on deck here. We've got millions and millions of dollars of aircraft around us on our billion-dollar floating home here. So a bunch of low-res kitties and hornets for now. Oh look, another scooter. Of course, in real life we'd be doing this with a marshal on the deck, walking us around, make sure we're not going to run anybody over, making sure we have adequate wingtip clearance. Been adding some eye candy to the deck. As you can see, we've got some deck crew, we've got a bunch of airplanes on deck, a couple of helicopters, and a couple of tugs, which I think just really looks cool. A populated deck always looks better. There's some guys on our LSOs for today. So now we're gonna show you the last special treat here, and that is a new carrier launch logic shuttle. Alright, so we're locked in, trim is set. Sweep the controls, free and correct. Get it under tension. Under tension. So, set the lights to steady. Lights on. Salute. Quickly out to 300 knots. Nice lightweight today. Back to BRC. Stay below 700 feet. And power's all the way in. Build up some smash, and away we go.